Welcome to Movies in Minutes with Colton. I am Colton from earlier, from that sentence before this sentence. These videos are going to be a little recap of the movies that are hot in the streets, so you can talk to your coworkers, talk to that crushing in your class, talk to your friends in your friend circle about movies that are hot that you haven't seen. We're going to make sure it sounds like you have seen them. The movie today is The Shape of Water. According to a lot of movie blogs, it is the favorite to win Best Picture. So I'm going into it with really high hopes, really pumped up. I'll give you a little brief description of the movie, what happens. There are spoilers in this video. So if you do plan on seeing Shape of Water, do not watch this video. From here on out, I'm going to spoil the shit out of the movie. We're going to make sure that you can get into your friend's circle and sound like you know what you're talking about with movies. Do a lot of these hand motions like I'm doing. Make it seem like you're confident in your movie knowledge. Here we go, Shape of Water. The movie's about the US and the Russians are racing to space, racing to the moon. It's back in the space race, I want to say like 62, 63-ish, during the Cold War. There is Eliza, who is a mute woman. She only has two friends. She has a neighbor who is this artist who turns out to be gay. I think the gay thing was a little forced, and then when she goes to work, she is a cleaning lady at a government facility that does a lot of testing and research. She has a sassy black woman who is her counterpart at work, translates all of her sign language because she can't talk. She can't talk because she was scratched when she was really little. She was an orphan and she's just never been able to talk, so she's all sign language. The sassy black woman is Octavia Spencer, who I'm a huge fan of, a really good actress, and she actually kicks this movie's ass. So Octavia Spencer and Eliza, who is the mom from Paddington, by the way, if you've seen the movie Paddington. Octavia Spencer and Eliza are cleaning at the government facility, and they're cleaning in this one room, and Octavia Spencer's yelling at everyone, being like, hey, why don't you clean up your own stuff? And because they just throw trash everywhere, so they don't get any respect. It's the 60s and they're women. All of a sudden this tank gets rolled in. Eliza goes over and she just touches it like this because she's kind of a weirdo. Boom! Somebody just punches the top of the tank where there's like a window. Get out of the room. What I think is weird is that they kicked him out of the room, but like the very next day, Eliza was in there by herself, just cleaning and with no authority in any way. So I don't get why they kicked her out if they're just gonna let her in like 24 hours later. Turns out the thing in the tank was this like fish man. He's like an aquatic creature. This guy who has a electronic cattle prong who's in charge of him. He like works for the government. Captured him. This fish person is considered a god. The guy with the cattle prong is in charge of like capturing him, watching him. He even tortures him for some reason because the dude's kind of an asshole. Eliza is in there by herself. The very next day, they are cleaning, and all of a sudden, their boss comes running up. It's like, hey, we need you to clean this room now. Do not ask any questions. You have 30 minutes. Here you go. And he like pushes them in there. There's just blood everywhere. The guy with the cattle prong is seen. He's just bleeding out of his chest, I think, and then he has like two fingers gone, and he's just gushing blood. So he gets taken to the hospital. Eliza, Octavia Spencer go in there. They clean it up. She finds the dude's fingers. Put them in like a little bag. It's disgusting. They clean the shit out of it, and then Eliza looks over, sees this chain moving. Next time she's in there by herself. When she's in there by herself, she sees the chain moving in the water again, and she goes up to it, and she pulls out a hard-boiled egg. Boom! Big old monster comes up, starts screaming at her. Like literally looks like the creature from the Blue Lagoon or whatever it's called, the famous movie back in the day. I'll put it right there. And just like starts screaming at her. Honestly, it hurt my ears in the theater, and I think if you can't talk, your other senses are heightened. So she has like sensitive hearing. That definitely hurt her ears. But she just sat there with an egg. She's like, oh look, egg. And then she like took a bite of it and put it down. And I think she did this. It was like the sign language for egg. Monster just grabs it, gets back in the water. They form some sort of like weird relationship. She keeps going back there and she gives him more eggs. And he does this. He knows sign language. And then all of a sudden she brings in like a record player into this like high security government project. She just brings in this big-ass record player with all these records, and she's, like, sorting through records. Like, do you want to listen to this one? You want to listen to this one? And he's just standing there. And he's like, oh, no, go back. I want to listen to that one. The dude's a fish. I don't know how well fish can hear, let alone even pick up on sounds to form a song. I'm not a scientist. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and fish are just really good at listening. Then there's this other scientist that comes in talking to the cattle prong guy because Eliza was in there without anyone knowing. So when she heard somebody come in, she's hiding behind all this equipment. Then she overhears a conversation with a cattle prong guy, the cattle prong guy's boss, who's like some general of the military. And then this new scientist who comes in, Dmitri. It may sound Russian because he's Russian as fuck. He is a Russian spy, and he is spying on the whole thing to keep the Soviets alert, and he wants to take this creature send it to the Soviets, give them the upper hand on the space race. American government they want to kill the fish man. The scientist Dmitri says, no, I want to save it. And then he actually turns and he sees Eliza behind the machines, and he doesn't say anything. Eliza hears this, goes home to her friend who's the artist. The artist and her talk, and she says she wants to create a plan to save the fish man, bring it home so they don't kill it. The artist has been working on this Jello ad, and he has a huge crush on this guy who works at this like Shake Shack. So he's like, you know what? I have all this going on in life. I can't really deal with you. Like get out of my way. And Eliza gets really mad, and she's like, we aren't human if we don't save it. Huge emotional moment. He brings his ad for Jello. The artist does. He brings his ad for Jello that he's been working on for so long to the Jello people, gives it to them, and they're just like, no, this sucks. We have a photograph. It's the 60s. Photographs are really hot in the streets. Get out of here, loser. Then this dude goes to the Shake Shack pie shop, whatever, and he's been going here for a while. He thinks he's connecting with the guy that he has a crush on. He like puts his hand on the guy who works there. At the same time, this like black couple walks in. The guy who's working at the Shake Shack is super racist, says, get out of here, we don't serve you. Then he turns around to the artist who we now know is gay. He's like, hey man, you're gay, get out of here. I'm paraphrasing all this. I'm not a story writer, but that's basically what happens. So then he's like, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to help Eliza. We are going to save the fish man. This is going to be awesome. So obviously this mute woman and this gay artist are going to break this top-level security fish man out of this government facility. They do it well. He hides him in like a laundry bin. So the fish man is like staying in Eliza's bathtub. They just keep getting along, and she's like teaching him like sign language and stuff. She does this. And then the weirdest part happens is they're like in her bathroom. It's like an old-time apartment too. So this is what... So they're like in her bathroom, and she turns on the water, and she's overflowing the water from the sink and the bathtub. Then she gets a towel, puts it in the crack at the bottom of the door, and the whole bathroom fills up like a cartoon. And then she gets naked, and then they just like start making out, and then they have sex. And the reason I know they have sex is because she's super happy the next day at work, and Octavia Spencer's like, what are you so happy about? Did you have sex with that fish? And she's like, And she's like, whoa, you did? Does he have a penis? And then this is like, I don't remember the exact sign language, but it was something like, and it was like a door opens and then a penis comes out. So apparently that's a thing. So they start having sex. They're having a relationship, this fish man and this mute woman. And then they are planning on releasing the fish man into the river once the rains come, so they can toss him in like this little river that rises once the rain hits, go out to the ocean, boom, happy ending. Cattle Prong guy, his boss comes back in and was like, what? Somebody took the fish man? Well, you better find him or else I'll kill you in 36 hours. So Cattle Prong guy's like, oh shit, I know who's doing this. It is Octavia Spencer and Eliza. He goes to Octavia Spencer's house. His fingers are still like barely connected, but they're disgusting. They just smell bad the whole time. What do you know about the fish man? What do you know about the fish man? Octavia Spencer's bitch-ass husband, who's this lazy-ass dude who's on the chair just yelling at her to make some dinner. Dude, Octavia Spencer is awesome. You better realize that and just get in line, man. Get in line. She's cool. So he squeals out Eliza. The Cattle Prong guy is now on his way to Eliza's house to get the fish man. We need to get the fish man out of here. Take him to the river. Right before they go to the river, Eliza is feeding him dinner at the table, obviously because he's a fish man. And they're just sitting at the table, and she's mute the whole time. All of a sudden, like in her head, she just starts singing like this musical, and like how much she loves this fish, like actually singing. And they like do like a weird dance number, and like a stage comes out. It's super artsy, but it just seems super unnecessary. And then, so I'm thinking the whole time, since this fish man is a god, he can heal her talking box or whatever it's called, the vocal cords, and she can start talking again. But no, she just sings, and then it goes right back to reality, and she's signing again. I don't understand why they even put in the musical number. Maybe I'm just not artsy enough to get it. The artist that got the dad from Step Brothers is over there. He's bald, and the fish man is like, no, check this out. Touch my head, I touch your head, and then all of a sudden he just like starts glowing. The artist wakes up, and he's growing hair, so I was like, oh shit, this guy might be a god. They go to the river. Cattle Prong guy is coming after him. And they're like right at the river. It's pouring rain. Eliza's very hesitant to send Fishman to the river. Just push, and then so she's just basically like, all right, go. She starts walking away. All of a sudden, Cattle Prong guy comes up. he beats the shit out of the artist, and then he has a gun, and he shoots Eliza in the chest and shoots the Fishman in the chest. And you're just like, oh, like this is the first time I was like, oh damn, this is not what I expected. I thought it'd just be like a stupid little happy ending. So that's honestly kind of where I wanted the movie to end. But boom, Fishman stands up, heals his own wound. He goes over and just beats the shit out of the kettle prawn guy, and then takes Eliza, picks her up, jumps right into the river. Cops come up. Octavia Spencer's there. The artist is there. Eliza's only two friends see Eliza get. She's dead, basically. She gets picked up and by the Fishman, and then they jump into the river. While they're in the river, in the water, the Fishman's swimming all around her. He puts his hand up to where her scratch was with the vocal cords. The scratches become gills. She becomes a mermaid, and they live happily ever after. And that's how the movie ends. Hopefully you followed that well. I think it's so overhyped. This movie is not that good. The acting was really good. I just think the story was ridiculous. There were so many times where I'm just like, the second main character is a fish, and it was just ridiculous. There was just no realism in it. I didn't get the singing. There was like fish pornography. It's just like weird, and people who are really into that, it's just like, oh, you don't get it. It's so artistic and it's so symbolic. Dude, get out of here. That movie. And then I find out that they just rip off a play from like the 1960s, and and then I read up on the play, and literally the whole description of the play is the main character is a woman who is a janitor at night in a government facility during the Cold War, sees a dolphin, starts communicating with it, finds out that they're going to kill the dolphin, so she helps it escape in a laundry basket, and then sends it into the ocean while forming a romantic bond with it. That's exactly this movie. So Guillermo del Toro, you are the director. I have a lot of respect for you. But you stole this. Whether it was subconscious, whether it was real, you stole the shit out of this movie. This movie stinks. I'm giving it like a 4.8 out of 10. I don't know. I enjoyed it up until that stupid song part, and then all of a sudden he could just heal everything. There's just a lot of unanswered questions. It's going to be a very unpopular opinion. I know. I am sorry. But this is how I feel. This is who I am. I want to be myself. If you all enjoyed the movie, I'm glad. If you all enjoyed me talking about the movie, I'm glad. But that is the Movies in Minutes review recap of Shape of Water.